giant oars in the water. They use those mainly for swimming and use the back flippers for steering themselves about like a little rudder. A seal has a front flipper about the size of my hand, so you can see there is quite a big difference there. This affects the way that they move, which is difference number 3, funnily enough. Sea lions are very agile on land. Due to their front flippers being so large, being very strong, they can actually support their body weight. They act like giant walking limbs. They can manage to run, jump, and as we've just seen there, climb also. They really don't struggle when they're trying to get about on land. Whereas a seal, they move in quite a different manner indeed. Now, sometimes I do the impression, to make it clear, Marvin's going to show you how does a seal move on land. That's right.
Good.
They wiggle along on their belly, much like a giant caterpillar. Remember, their front 2 flippers are only very small. With a heavy body, it's a bit difficult to get about. They also can't like this. What we're going to try next is explaining a bit about training. We train our sea lions through a system called positive reinforcement, which is actually what I'm doing and what you guys are doing throughout the show. Every time Marvin does something right, when you guys clap, you're telling him that he's done what we want him to do. Also, when I feed him fish, when I give him kisses and cuddles like you've just seen there, he really appreciates it. It's basically his reward for working well. Now, what we're going to try next is explaining another system of training, so we understand about positive reinforcement hopefully now, rewarding good behaviour. This is a target everyone, and it's one of the first things that we teach the sea lions to do when they join us here at the show. All we want them to do first of all is just to touch this point here, so a quick touch and then some sort of positive reinforcement. In this case, lots of fuss and strokes. Within time, and it doesn't take long, they start to do this. They'll follow that target end absolutely anywhere with their nose because we've encouraged them to do so. He'll follow it around this stage with me. It almost acts like a lead does to a dog. Very useful if we want to move the sea lions about, as generally they will focus on that target end and not become distracted by anything else going on around them. If we want the sea lions to lay down, the target's actually made that very easy for the trainers. All we do is we put the target onto the ground like so. Marvin will follow it there because we've encouraged him to do so, and we can check him all over his body. It means the vet can look at the animals as well. They're not nervous or stressed, they're used to doing this all the time. If we want to look at their stomach, a simple little hand signal will do the trick. It's alright, Benson's early over there, Marvin. A little hand signal will do the trick, that's it. And they'll roll over like so. It means that we can check their stomach and obviously the insides of their flippers, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, Marvin. And you know what, everybody? Normally he's a bit of a fidget when he lays down. He laid there very still indeed, didn't you? That was very good, well done. Good boy. Now, staying on the subject of health assessments, I do like to talk about these quite a bit. Obviously, when we have sea lions that are feeling a bit off colour, it's very important that we can check them and obviously prevent any problems as well. So we've seen how we can check them all over their external body. We've seen that we can get Marvin to roll over if we want to look at his stomach and the insides of his flippers. There's a few areas that are a bit difficult, one of which is the mouth. But with the right bit of training, here at this show, it's become quite easy. All we have to do is put our finger onto the sea lion's chin, and they open up nice and wide, just like that. It means that we can check their teeth, the tongue, the back of the throat, obviously anywhere within that mouth area. It makes it very easy for the trainers to assess. Now, you guys all got a very good look at that. I didn't though. Marvin, can I have a good look? Like when you're at the dentist, open up and say, ah! Lovely, thank you very much for that. A brilliant demonstration there. Well done. So you've seen that we can check Marvin's external body. We can have a good look in his mouth if we want to. There's one other area that is important that we can assess, or that we need to assess, and it's the nose. Obviously, sea lions hold their breath a lot underwater. They can get a few problems with the lungs and respiratory tract, which is basically the lungs. What we do is we get them to blow their nose onto a dish, a Petri dish. That will get sent off to the lab for analysis, and whatever's growing on there, we can have a good look at it and assess the bacteria. Now, we don't have any Petri dishes today. Let's check the barrel. No, we've run out, unfortunately, and we also have run out of tissues. So we're going to have to use my hand. Marvin always looks very excited about this, as we can see here. Are you ready then? Blow! 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 One more for good luck, a sloppy one. Oh, lovely, you can have all of that back. Again, a brilliant demonstration, isn't it good? Well done. It's showing you all those different methods. Through training, we can check their health very easily. Now, what we're going to try next is back onto impressions now. We've seen Marvin's seal and sea lion differences. He's now going to impersonate an animal that actually eats sea lions in the wild. Now, if Benson's out of the way, it looks like he is, so you're alright, Marvin. Marvin's going to show you this impression. The idea is you've all got to guess what it is. Now, I'll give you a clue. It's a rather large type of fish.
Dolphin?
Can anybody guess it? Shout it out!
Shark.
Tiger sharks, bull sharks, and the great, where's he gone? And the great white shark will all feed on sea lions like Marvin here in the wild. Also a fellow marine mammal, the killer whale. So Marvin, if you're in the water and you spot any of those animals coming towards you, what do? You leg it, that's right. Get out of the water onto dry land, obviously where they can't catch you. Brilliant. Another good impression there, Marvin. Right, what we'll try next is a bit of hoop catching. The idea is Marvin's got to try and catch each one of these 5 hoops over here, over his lovely long flexible neck. Now I'm terrible at throwing, so hopefully this will go well, everybody. Sea lions have what is known as binocular vision, which is just like you and me. 2 eyes that face forwards, allowing them to judge distance and speed. It means that Marvin can figure out which way the hoop's going to land and adjust his neck to try and catch it, so it falls over his neck. Now he did very well with those 4, particularly well, because again my throwing is terrible. Now this final one I'm going to add a flick to it. Very difficult indeed. If I manage to get it over to him and he manages to catch it, please can we have a cheer, everybody? Right, you ready, Marvin? This one's going to be difficult. No cheating. No using your teeth today. Ready? Catch that. Can't catch it. I was quite pleased with my throw then. That's the best I've ever thrown it. So well done to us both. Right, what we're going to do next now, or what we're going to do next, is Marvin's going to try a bit of balancing, which is something that is quite cliche to see at any sea lion show. First of all though, we're going to make it a bit different. Catch that. Well done. Now let's see if we can hold that for as long as I explain about the exercise. What's involved is basically their whiskers. They're very sensitive to movement and vibration. Marvin's feeling which way the ball's going to roll and adjusting his neck to try and stop that ball from falling. They would use their whiskers in the wild to find fish. If they can't see their food, if the water's murky, or their eyesight's getting bad, they can actually still locate it by the movement that fish make with their tails. The whiskers can detect those movements. Now he's held that there for quite some time. Can I have that back now, please? Very well done to you. The centre of gravity is much smaller than that of a basketball. Not only has he got to balance this item, he's got to move with it. That's his mission. We've got to get Marvin all the way around the arena, wherever I ask him to go, hopefully without dropping that skittle once and without Benson putting him off. Are you ready then, Marvin? Now we're going to go around the back. Hopefully Benson's not lurking too close by. Into the water. Oh, well done. Now this is difficult. Getting back out of the water requires a lot of concentration. Then from this level, we're not finished yet. Fantastic, with a lovely big splash. And hopefully, although it doesn't look very impressive, this is really difficult getting back up onto his stand because he's sort of got a hop up there. Brilliant, well done to you. That was brilliant, well done. At the end of the show, Marvin likes to splash, don't you? Yes. Now, the reason this is the most important thing is, if we've got any very young children that are lurking around the edge of the water, or at the edge of the pool, and you don't want them getting wet, please be very careful where they're standing. Also any valuables, very expensive phones, very expensive cameras, there's a chance they might get wet, so you have all been warned. Right, Marvin, you've waited very patiently there indeed. So what we're going to do, everybody, hopefully Benson will get out of the way of Marvin so he can manage to hit the high ball. You can't see me sort of lurking over there. What we'll do is we'll give Marvin a countdown. Hopefully Benson won't put him off. From the count of 3, everyone, nice and loud with me. 3, 2, 1. Off you go, Marvin. What, Benson? Nice and loud. You know what? You did fantastic there. That was very difficult. It was Now, unfortunately, we really have come to the end of this particular sea lion show. I do hope that you've enjoyed your day at Flamingoland so far, and obviously I hope you enjoyed the rest of it. But from me, all of our animals, and obviously the staff, thank you very much for coming, and goodbye. Wave, Marvin! Thank you!